Hi, welcome to my channel. I am Cleo the Seer. I'm a psychic, a medium, and a seer. And this is Little Jesus, aka Prince of Peace, hence the peace sign. There we go. And Little Jesus is with me because he's a stand in for the real Jesus, who is my main spirit guide, along with other spirit guides. Um, so he's here to help me out. So, my guides wanted me to make a video about what's going on between Trump and Biden in the election, basically about politics, which is something I didn't think I would be doing so much of, but I just did one a little week or so ago. And so, anyway, now we're back to politics. And I did mainly the way this has been coming up is um, I've been talking to my guides about all the lies that are being told all the time about and why can this continue to happen? The lies, the lies, the lies. And the Republicans are just talk about misinformation, and so I looked into this. One thing I found out was that I think it was I was one of the newspapers had said that when Trump was in the White House for his 4 years, they counted at least 30,000 lies that he made. And I'm like, wow, that's a lot of lies. and, and thinking back on it, I thought I kind of remember that. Nothing but lie, 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 lie. And I couldn't figure out um, why a person that's supposed to be leading the country was continually lying. But now I see it's never stopped. Even after he left office begrudgingly, um, he just continued to lie and lie and lie. What I wasn't getting was that there's a lot of people out there, Republicans and the mega people, uh, that believe it. And I thought, how could they possibly? But they do. And I think a lot of them are sincere. So trying to change their mind is going to be very, very difficult because they're just in complete denial about this. And it's just I'm thinking, how could we possibly vote in a person that is never honest with us and hasn't been the whole time? So the guide said, you know what, you need to look into this a little bit further and check, do a little fact checking. So I did. And here's what I've come up with. And I'm mainly concerned about what's going on right now. And it said that 6 out of 10 Republicans erroneously believe the 2020 election was stolen. I mean, they still believe it, even though there has been 60 court cases, both state and federal, that have looked into every single angle of what they said happened, what Republicans said happened, that how this vote was stolen, and found that to be not true in every single case, 60 of them. But that does not change their minds. They're still sticking with it. Um, it I mean, you go back to the insurrection, and I'm like, well, how did that happen? Well, that happened because of because Trump said that had been stolen. So he lies to those people. He causes an insurrection. He tries to stay in office through force. He totally um, this transition, the peaceful transition, peaceful transition of power. Just he wasn't going for that because based on the lie in the first place, and that I guess maybe that is why. Maybe I'm answering my own question here. That the Republicans won't concede that this was in fact not the case, that it was not a stolen election, because if they do that, then they have to realize that the insurrection should have never happened. It should have never happened anyway, you know. And the all these people that are that went to prison for their part in that insurrection is just it's amazing that they actually tried to overturn the government. So I thought, okay, so now that we're into the election, we're getting closer and closer to it. And all I hear is that, Biden is this, what does Trump keep calling him? A disaster. That's what he calls him, a disaster. Trump's a disaster. Excuse me. No, Trump is a disaster, but I inadvertently said Freudian slip. I should have said that they were saying Biden is a disaster. It's just hard for me to put those words together because it's just so not true. So I thought, okay, so what did Trump do for us when he was president? Well, one thing he did was he tanked the economy, and he left us with the biggest deficit anybody's ever left office with, as far as being president. He mishandled a global pandemic where he allowed, because of his lack of planning, his lack of trying to help us, over 1.5 million people perished. It would have been much less had we done what was written up in the manuals that Biden and Obama put together to get us through. If a pandemic was to happen, we had a book of information, and we had doctors on call that were right. Actually, no, they were right there. They had some department that would handle this and help us. But no, Trump threw that out. Uh, Trump attempted to overthrow the government. He told us that hydroxychloroquine was the cure for, well, at least the treatment for COVID. 17,000 people globally died trying to use that method of fighting COVID. And then he also had, well, okay, with he called that medicine, which was hydrochloroquine, I think, is the magic bullet against COVID. Well, it's magic for nobody. And he also claimed that as president, that we had the greatest 4 years that we've ever had. Now, if that's what he's promising for his next 4 years, I don't want to be I don't want to be around for that. You know, I see if something like that was to happen, you'd see an awful lot of people heading to Canada or anywhere, just not here. So that's what he did for us. So then I think, okay, so what did Biden do? Well, Biden came in right off the bat, guns a-blazing, ready to fight off this pandemic, deal with the pandemic. And he was the one that, brought out the vaccine. It was with the vaccine that we finally got to where we're at right now. And it went much quicker than anybody could have ever expected. But, if Trump would have at least done more to help us in the beginning, it wouldn't have been so bad, but it was very bad. And it was Biden's, remember begging us to get the vaccine, which millions and millions of people did. Uh, some people didn't want to, and that was up to them. But fortunately, enough people did that it slowed the pandemic down, slowed the COVID cases down. Um, we still have what is it, like 1,000, 2,000 deaths a day from COVID, but it has still slowed it down to where the economy, where we could get back on our feet, people get back to work, and it's really a tremendous thing that he did for us there. The other thing he did is what he's done for the economy. Now I kept hearing, oh, Biden destroyed the economy. No, what Biden did is he put for one thing, he changed the employment. There's so many more jobs now. In the Biden administration, he's added 14.8 million jobs over the first 3 years of his administration, and that's more than any president in history. This is the disaster president. Joe, what are you doing? You're such a disaster, but you created 14.8 million jobs. And the unemployment has been held below 4% for the longest stretch since the 1960s. And again, that comes from the disaster president. he doesn't give up. He just keeps doing, no matter what anybody says about him. He just keeps on plugging away, trying to help the country, and doing really an amazing job. He in 2 years, what do they say here? In 2 years time, he has brought 2 or 3 years time, he has brought he's brought us to pre-pandemic levels. Boy, and that's really fast. Do we have a problem with inflation? We do. And of course, that of course was because of the disaster president. This is crazy that they keep saying this stuff, because we all know you can't shut the country down for any period of time, and it was shut down for a while, and this was what caused the inflation. Biden prevented it from going into a recession, but the inflation thing now, with all these jobs and stuff, how we're, you hardly even really think about, right now anyway, about the pandemic, about COVID, because things are under control. They became under control under Biden. Trump did not do anything to prevent that, to help us out or anything. So, and and to blame Biden for inflation is just not warranted. It's not just the United States. Everybody, all the countries throughout the world went through inflation, and a lot of them went through recessions. But Biden was able to change that. And so let me see what my other little notes say here. Okay, so let's get back to, Biden's done some great things, and Biden's been a very good president. And it's hard to imagine how all the things he's done relates to a disaster. No, no, there's no disaster there. But now we're coming up with the Trump having 34 felony convictions. But his Republican buddies are just backing him up. Just again, Biden is blamed for this. It's the crooked Biden. Crooked Biden told the DOJ, go after Trump, do something with him. I'm telling you right now, that never happened. Biden has nothing to do with it. This thing with the 34 felony convictions was a state thing. It wasn't a federal thing. And it wasn't when he was president. And fortunately, there's at least this court case that can come out right now. And we can see the writing on the wall. We can see all the lies. We can see all the misrepresentation. We can see all the criminal activity involved in this. And Trump is just fit to be tied. So what comes up not too long ago, I think it was like last week, somebody went on to the, I don't know, the court's Facebook page and said, and I quote, my cousin is a juror and says Trump is getting convicted. Now, supposedly this came out before the actual verdict came out, which of course would be a problem with this case. I mean, I immediately, when I read the article, I just thought, well, there's something wrong. I read into it and I thought, no, this is BS. So, and afterwards, I read, okay, the judge got a hold of all the attorneys on both sides and said this has occurred, but it doesn't change anything. It's just we want you to know that we're aware that somebody posted this. Well, the person that posted it also calls himself a professional shit poster. What did that tell you? So he lied, and he just threw something on there to try to. Maybe he had no idea where it would go, but it's enough for Trump's lawyers will probably try to use this in their appeal, or maybe before, or maybe they'll just start spewing this stuff out like, see, the jury did something wrong. And so this conviction shouldn't be upheld. I just don't see that happening. And like let's say that it could possibly happen, because I don't think this will be the only strange thing that comes up that you're just like, oh, what, it figures something like this would be said, that now the convictions aren't going to happen. No, the convictions are going to happen. He will be sentenced in July. And there's but just be prepared. Well, that's what I'm telling you. Just be prepared for other weirdnesses to come up that makes no sense. No juror told their cousin that he was going to be convicted before he was convicted. That never happened. But they will try to make a big deal out of it. And that goes right along with all the, well, you see how much strange stuff has kind of erupted from these convictions, and just how the Republicans are like telling you that it's the witch hunt is just is a witch hunt on steroids. and it's not. It's just Trump is so upset because he got caught. He got caught lying. He got caught on paper. It wasn't just the witnesses. It wasn't just what they said. It's supported by stuff in black and white on paper. There's no getting around that. And that's why, no matter who the jurors were, I guess there was a couple Trump supporters in the jury pool, and they had to go along with what was being presented to them. And there you have it. I mean, they're just, there's just no other way around it. No other way. And will these convictions affect how people vote? Absolutely. Absolutely. There's no way that this is already a lot of Republicans. I'm talking about Republican voters, just regular people that, thought Trump was, they liked Trump. They thought he'd be a good president. But when he's convicted of not just one felony, but 34 felonies, which, by the way, President Biden, he doesn't even have one felony. Biden doesn't even have one felony. I don't even think he's got one misdemeanor. I'd be surprised if he even had a traffic ticket. So, yeah, these 34 felonies are definitely going to make people think about what they want to do. And no matter how much the Republican politicians, and the ones especially that want to be Trump's vice president, no matter what kind of things they say, it's almost embarrassing to them that they should act like the courts are corrupt and the courts have done something wrong, and that this is just what they've done to the Trump is a terrible thing. No, it's not. And let's not forget, this is not the only case. We're not probably going to get to hear the other cases before the election, and that has to do with that we have a Supreme Court, a prejudicial Supreme Court that is helping Trump to delay certain things about um, his immunity. Did he have immunity? And he's even trying to run to the Supreme Court about these felony convictions. Oh, he wasn't president. He doesn't have any immunity there. But these other things, we know the appellate court said, no, he does not have immunity, that broad of immunity. And any reasonable person could see that. So, but anyway, the Supreme Court will probably be another video I could do because um, there's so many things going on there that's going to have to be fixed after all is said and done. Um, and I'll leave it at that for now. So when you get back to uh, what is going to happen now with this revenge that president, or excuse me, the former, the I don't even want to call him that. That Trump is out for revenge and retribution. And that's why he wants now. I mean, that's what he's basing all his rallies on and stuff. And that is not a person that is helping the United States of America. He's only helping himself, and the Republicans are just digging themselves in deeper. It's a sad state of affairs. But I guess it's something we have to go through so that we can get back on track and start doing the right things. Hold on one moment. Okay, the other thing I wanted to mention was how these convictions have affected Trump. I mean, I believe it's 36 countries that he can't, they don't want him in there because he's a felon. He can't carry a gun. They've taken away his gun permit. don't know if they've actually done it yet, but that's happening. Um, all these different things where he's trying to kind of wash over the whole thing. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens in mid-July when he goes before the GOP, where they announce Trump as their president-elect. Um, we've got some very interesting things coming up in the next few months of how are they going to deal with this? And the Republican Party is in bad shape. Um, although they're looking around like, oh, look at all the money he as soon as that thing came out with all these convictions, he all of a sudden has all this, I don't know, 50 million. I don't know, lots of money. Interestingly enough, um, Biden's administration collected more than twice that. So the problem is, and I wasn't going to go here, but I mean, the main contributors for Trump is the oil companies, and because he's making promises. You know what? I'll address that at another time. But I just want to get back to Biden because he's been such a disaster, and he's just, what is the problem with Biden? And when you look through his whole, what has he been doing? Well, how has he helped us? Which he's helped us immensely. And what are people critical about? Why don't they want Biden to be president again? Is because he's too old. He's too old. They're not taking into the fact of all his knowledge and wisdom about how to run a country, all his experience and his background as a vice president and as a senator and everything else, all his 50 plus years of experience. And then they want to say the problem is he's too old, that he's maybe not mentally competent. Well, how does he do what he did? And just lately, the thing with the border, he's trying to do something with that, but his problem is not that he's too old. His problem is that the Republicans continually interfere with everything he's trying to do. We heard about months ago when he brought up something about he put together a package that really the Republicans shouldn't have turned down because it was everything they wanted in regards to the border. But Trump said, no, 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 you can't, don't do that because that makes Biden look good. And we want to make Trump look good. Well, this was one, that's been going on and on and on, that this constant interference. And it's just not too bright of the Republicans to allow themselves to be controlled by somebody who is running for president but hasn't gotten it yet. And so, but they're going to listen to him just in case he does get it, because if he does get it, and if they didn't back him up in the first place, then they're out. And they know that because that's the way he does. That's the way Trump does things. But yeah, the biggest, Biden will do everything he can to try to help with the border thing. And he's been doing it all along, but he can't get certain rules or certain laws passed because of the Republicans. So, but yeah, the main thing is he's just too darn old. I don't know why he hangs in there. Oh, although he just has brought us all back from the brink of pandemic time, has saved our lives, has given us more jobs. We are actually prosperous right now. He's turned everything around, but that old man, now he's just like some old grandpa, you know. he just he keeps hanging in there. I mean, he doesn't have to do this. He doesn't need. It's not like he needs the job. Um, he's doing it because he knows how to run a country. He knows how to help us, and he can. That's been his main focus his entire political career, is to help us, and it doesn't stop here. And I really do see that he's going to win by a landslide, and we will be thankful and grateful to have him, regardless of his age. That's just so ridiculous. I understand that he will be the oldest president. That he's 80 right now. That he'll be even older, I believe, when he starts his second term. Um, we got to get over this thing about him just being too old. If that's the worst thing you can find about him, because he's well, besides the fact that some people think he's a disaster. I can't quite put the whole thing together. I don't know where the disaster comes in at. But yeah, if the worst thing is that he's too old, let it go. Um, this is the best thing we got going. He's done an amazing job, and the Republicans and Trump himself have to eventually face reality. We do not want a convicted felon in the Oval Office. And like I said, Biden doesn't even have one felony count against him. So I'll leave it at that. Not one, nothing. He hasn't done anything wrong that way. No criminal activity whatsoever. What a surprise. Um, so anyway, thank you for watching this, and things are going to continue to be hectic, and you'll see little things pop up where you're like, where did that come from? But then it comes up like feels like it's something bad, and then all of a sudden it's not. Kind of like Republicans want to impeach Biden. um, Ridiculous. So anyway, thanks for watching this. I'll be back with more fun stuff soon. and I'll see you all later. Bye-bye. Oh wait, one thing I forgot to mention. Um, like and subscribe to my channel. It's what keeps me on YouTube, and I'd really, really appreciate it. I need that. So anyway, now I'll go. I'll quit bugging y'all. Bye bye.